Hey, what's going on, everyone? Back with some knife content. Been thinking about this a lot, and seeing as how it is almost November, I think it's safe to say I kind of have all of the knives that I'm gonna have through the rest of the calendar year. And I was thinking when I started doing this YouTube channel that at the end of the year I'd say, hey, like what's like my knife of the year, and for a while I knew what that was going to be, but then I had to take a hard look at kind of where I've been, and like kind of where my collection is going. So I kind of narrowed it down to my top three knives that I've owned this year. And a little bit of my background with knives, I mean, certainly I've always been into knives, but I don't really know what it was. Kind of at the beginning of this year, I started getting into half-face blades. The first knife being that SHPOS Gen 3 folder drop. And concurrently, while that was kind of going on, I had taken a training trip out east to Virginia and packed my zero tolerance 0561, and TSA took it out of my checked bag. So I was like, hey, I kind of want to replace this, but since I had it for about 10 years, I was like, what else is out there? And I was kind of inundated with how far knives have come, and just kind of what all was out there. So it's definitely been an interesting journey. I have my iPad out here in front of me just so I can kind of remember, because I have like a whole album just with like knife pictures from the last year. But like I certainly started with a lot of half-face blades, but then realized that I didn't really align with the community associated with it, and so kind of parted ways. I went through a bunch of Spydercos. That's kind of what I'm looking at. I also got really into ProTech knives. Shirogorov, that was a company that I had always heard of, but didn't really know anything about them, but got my hands on one of those. Kind of going down the list when I look at my collection, so this would have been in June, which I think that's when my collection was the largest. I had a little bit of everything, but then I think over the last month or so, my collection's kind of been not whittled down, but I've gotten into the special knives that I'm actually into. And kind of just wanted to go over my top three, with number one being the knife of the year for me. All right, number three on my list for top three knives of the year is going to be the Berg Iron Wolf. So looks like that. This knife is really big, and it was my first Berg that I had ever tried. And what I liked about it is it kind of, with the micarta inlays and then the full frame titanium, I thought it looked kind of like classic, but at the same time it was souped up for today's day and age. It is running caged bearings on it. The action is some of the best, but this is a very big and bulky knife, and I wouldn't say like I don't carry it a tremendous amount, but I really do like it. I have really big hands, and so it definitely it fits my hand really good. I like the choil on it. I like the choked up grip, the jimping on it, the lock bar, how it's kind of recessed so you can sneak your thumb in there. I thought that this would be my knife of the year, but it isn't. And after I picked up this one, I kind of had that like Berg bug kind of thing, and I picked up an Iron Pup, which I have not found one person that likes that knife. They sell for pennies on the dollar, and it is just a far cry from the Iron Wolf. This one is going to be made by an OEM in China, so it's one of those higher end Chinese knives, but it is designed in the US, and I'm a huge fan. Like this knife really doesn't leave anything to be desired. If you're into larger knives, definitely check out an Iron Wolf. The runner-up to the knife of the year. This is a tough one because I just got it in, but I recently sent it to Devin, and he reviewed it, and kind of we both agree we can't really find anything wrong with it. But that is going to be the Arkona Buron, which this is a really awesome knife. It's an M390 titanium scales. The amount of weight relief they did actually on the scales is phenomenal. Like it's the best that I've ever seen. Like I really like it when knife companies, and Shirogorov is kind of known to do this, but where they'll actually clean up and do a good job with places that a normal person would not even look. And that's the case with this Arkona Buron. I do not know who the OEM is, but this is another one of those, made in China. They really haven't disclosed who the manufacturer actually is, but I love the fact that this is going to be, primarily a front flipper, but then you also kind of have this recessed part on the blade to allow you to flick it with your finger, and you can also flick it with your thumb, which I think is really cool. So you have 3 solid ways to actually actuate this knife. It does have a little bit of a jimping ramp, super just really lightweight and wieldy. The pocket clip is awesome. There's no external screws there. The screws are actually on the inside. Ambidextrous carry comes with a bunch of extra parts. And MSRP was $320. So I don't know, in a day of really, fast bearing action, all that, this one is kind of a really like middle of the road. Like I think Devin characterized it as like a Shirogorov closing that kind of like drop shut, and it doesn't slam shut like a McNeese or anything like that. So I think like if you look at Knife Nuts podcast, so that Instagram page, I'm pretty sure they still do have a pre-order going on for these. I could be wrong though, but this is such an underrated knife. And out of the, it was a little scary scrolling back through my pictures, but I have tried over 100 knives at this point. I have over 100 videos. Like this is number 2 for me. Like I love it all around. If you have not, or you're looking for a knife that's a little bit different but kind of meets the mail, you can tell it's designed by a knife enthusiast, check out the Arkona Buron. It's phenomenal. And last, my knife of the year. So I'm sure some of you all will see this coming based on this Chris Reeve kick that I've been on, but my knife of the year is going to be this Sebenza 31 in Chad Nichols. So this is Boomerang Damascus, and then this is a Knife Art exclusive full carbon fiber body with a Purvis clip there. So carbon fiber show side, your normal bead blasted clip side, and then it has a little bit of an extra clip on there. This is only running a single thumb stud, which I actually like, but I've spent a lot of time with this knife breaking it in, and I love it. Like it's super lightweight. That is definitely one of the things that where I kind of get away from the Inkosi is for what it is. It's really, really thick and heavy, which I understand in something like a Zahn where you want it to be overbuilt, but this is just such a great all-around knife. And man, what a joy it has been to break it in and take it apart and clean it, whatever. I don't know. I'm absolutely in love with this knife. I love carrying it. It's super lightweight with that carbon fiber. I have, since I got this one, I've tried a carbon fiber inlaid version, and I still think the full titanium frame sometimes gets a little bit too heavy, but this thing is super light, super wieldy, and I absolutely love it. Like this is definitely my number 1 knife. If I have to pick one knife to carry, that's gonna be it. So this is gonna be my knife of the year. If you don't already have a Sebenza 31, highly recommend it. Keep your eyes out for these Knife Art exclusive ones in carbon fiber. They don't come up that often, but if you can see one, snag one. Like they're absolutely phenomenal. So I mean, with that, and again, this is after trying, Koenigs, Striders, Curtis. I mean, the list goes on. Like as I scroll through my pictures, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I had way too many knives, like tons of hinderers, that half-face blades I talked about, Tad Dauntlesses, a bunch of a couple of McNees, Medfords, Sharp by Design, which that's another great one, that Mini Tempest that I had. All these were great knives, but they didn't make it, or they're not going to see the new year with me. I've definitely moved past them, and I've narrowed my collection down quite a bit. So those are my top 3. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and we'll see you next time.